and gentlemen, 7 weeks ago we started the F1 1967 SimRacingOnline Classic Championship on public roads and cobbled streets. 7 weeks later we are returning to the public roads and cobbled streets, with the legendary Feldbergrennen being the location of this, the final race of the 7-round series. We've just seen an accident there from use of Assetto, probably the first of many here today on this extremely difficult, treacherously twisty Feldbergrennen circuit. I'm actually going to turn my my game sound down a little bit because it sounds to me like I haven't quite got it set up properly. That should be better. But whatever the case, this track over 3.5 minutes long, even with the best of drivers behind the wheel, meaning that there's really no chance to get things wrong in qualifying. And it also means you have masses and masses of track. In fact, over 7 miles of it. It's 7.1 miles in total of track to remember. Treacherously difficult circuit, one that hasn't been used in reality since the 1950s, and I should correct myself, as untruthfully earlier in this series I said that this was a fantasy track and one that was never used. It actually was used. It was used for the first time in 1920 and then for the last time in 1954 throughout various motorcycle and automobile races. John van der Geest uploaded some pictures of the classic cars and motorbikes going around the circuit in reality a couple of days ago to the server forum, and it's just incredible to see how they did it back in the day, and I'm so glad they don't do it like this anymore, as I'm sure a lot of these drivers are. But anyway, it's great to revisit how they used to do it with simulator racing, in the safety of simulator racing, I should say, every now and again, and that's what we're seeing today. So let's go on board now with Phil Brown in the Ferrari as he starts our very first qualifying lap. You can see we go to the right here around the hay bales in the field. 2 wheels on the grass there for Phil Brown. That's going to cost him a little bit of momentum, but this is such a long track that really won't affect him that much. Into the village now. We head downhill. It's very, very steep, especially this part here. As you go around the church, very steep braking zone. The car does not want to comply, and especially with that very bumpy surface. Not great for braking friction. 2 wheels up in the air there as he wheelies his way out of the village and onto the public highway. And now hay bales and spectators on the left, with wooden barriers on either side. Absolutely no safety features on the circuit here. Past the Marshall Hertz now to the left. We head onto a different road. Another hay bale is on the left there. I should also point out that the driver who has already been crowned champion, Yucca Drug, will not be driving today, as unfortunately he is ill. Oh no! And Phil Brown goes for a massive spin there. It seems he clipped a, well, not exactly a bollard, a braking board to the side of the circuit. And weirdly, it's completely solid. He flicked the car around and there appears to be damage. So unfortunately for Phil Brown, he's going to have to contest with a very poorly handling car for the rest of the lap, which is a huge shame. Let's go back a bit to see if we can ride with a car that isn't so damaged. The next car back on the road is the Honda of Martin McLoone, who is just coming up to, that's a little flick to the left there. Of course, these corners don't have names, because naming all of these many, many corners would be a real mammoth task, and no one bothered to do it. It's 11.6 kilometers in total. The lap record was set by a BMW. I'm not sure whether that was a car or a motorbike, but it was set in 1953 at 74 miles per hour. On average. Now through the forest we continue to ride with Martin McLoone. We're over 2 minutes into the lap now in this 15-minute qualifying session as we flick to the left and head underneath the Enerjol BP bridge. You can see there was just a I believe that was a Hudson car to the left-hand side there. completely exposed. And we do actually have a car coming up behind us now. That's an Eagle. I believe that will either be John Van der Geest or Matteo Santini, who looks to the left. Santini actually on pole so far. It's John Van der Geest who touches the fence there, and that's not going to do his lap any good. But yeah, Santini currently top with a 409, but oh, it's McLean's missed his braking zone and gone hard into the wall. Luckily, he doesn't appear to have picked up any damage from that. And to be honest, with the sheer length of this track, that probably won't affect him that much. Up the hill, you can see a man on a tower to the right there, right where the car could go skittling into it. And I say skittling as in, you know, could end up bowling it over. McLean's made another mistake, and Van der Geest is passing us. Also coming through now is whoa, very close there. The Cooper boost to 4, and they've both gone through now. And the 4 actually slipstreaming up towards John Van der Geest in the Eagle. They're both about to complete this lap. Boost to 4 needs to make sure he leaves enough room for John Van der Geest under braking, as it's very difficult to know exactly when to brake in these cars, and you can see there Van der Geest doing a lot more braking than before. And as they cross the line, where do they go? At the end of a very long lap. Well, DeFore actually goes first there with a 3:44.408, so an extremely long lap as McLean goes into the wall again. Let's look back now to Fabrizio Ferrante. Interestingly, I should bring up that the battle for second in the championship is still on. It's still open as we head here into the final round of the championship, round 7 out of 7. Let me just have a look at the championship standings, and I can work out for you exactly where drivers will need to finish. So, currently the race for second in the championship is led by Fabrizio Ferrante over Laurent Lons, and they are the two drivers who could mathematically take it. To take it, Lons needs to score 4 points more than Fabrizio Ferrante, which would mean that if I look at the standings and the point scoring information, sorry, bear with me. It seems that 4 points is what you get for third position. So sorry, who am I talking about? Laurent Lons, that's it. If Lons was to finish in third position, then he would need Fabrizio Ferrante to not score any points whatsoever here today. If he was to finish in second position, he would need Laurent Lons to finish 5th or lower. And if Laurent Lons was to win the race, he would need Fabrizio Ferrante to finish in 4th place or lower. Incidentally, sorry, 3rd place or lower. That does mean that if Ferrante finishes 1st or 2nd in the race today, he will be classified as 2nd in the championship, and that would be a very impressive result, seeing as he did miss the first round of the season. Not as impressive though as Jukka Drug, who of course claimed the championship 2 rounds early, despite having to miss the final round of the season. Really impressive performance all season long to Jukka Drug, and a shame that he can't make it to today's race. Oh, into the wall there goes Ferrante, and that's going to really affect him, because that means that Ferrante might well only start 4th at best. No, that wasn't Ferrante, that was someone else getting into the wall. I think it may have been Yusuf Masset, so Ferrante is still on his way. Okay, ignore me. Panic over. That was a really tense situation, but yeah, Ferrante's still heading on his way. Hello to everyone in the YouTube chat here today. We have Jukka Drug saying hello, gentlemen. Hello to you, Jukka. Shame you can't race, but yeah, it would have been fun for you to drive here. Great looking track, and yeah, great results from you all season long. You, of course, by not racing today, that also means you guarantee your 100% winning streak, as you won all of the all of the first 6 rounds of the championship. Andrew Williams says, "Hey champ," hello to you as well, Andrew. This is where you leave yourself a gap before starting your quali lap. Absolutely, because if you find yourself held up behind other drivers, you don't know whether they're going to make mistakes, and cost you any time. You don't know whether they're going to be slower than you, and if they are, that can cost you time if you can't get past them quickly and without any hassle. Excuse me. And Inge Needveld says, "Come on, Lauren, Lon. So we have a Lauren Lon supporter there in the form of Inge Needveld, and of course Lauren could well claim second in the championship here today. So good to see he has some support. Where are Fabrizio Ferrante fans at? Let's hear it for Fabrizio Ferrante in the YouTube live chat, and Yaka also confirming my statement about his 100% record by saying that's true, Caitlin. Well done to you. Up into second now goes Fabrizio Ferrante, and can you believe it? After a lap of over 3.5 minutes, almost 3 minutes and 45 seconds, Fabrizio Ferrante and Lewis Dufour are separated by less than half a tenth of a second at the top of the time. That shows you that even with a ridiculously long track like this one, the times will still be close. In fact, the top 3 drivers are separated by less than 0.3 of a second. Can you believe that? This is going down to the wire. Despite being the longest circuit I've ever commentated at, this is going down to the wire. Oh my goodness, what an amazing spectacle we're seeing here. And Lauren Lons in 4th place really isn't far off them either. So far, it's Dufour, Ferrante, Santini, Lons, Van der Geest, Grucock, McLean, Bosger, Stieg, and then Brown and Roos. And that's disappointing for Brown, seeing as he is in the fight for 3rd place in the championship here today. Let me have a look back at the championship. So it's Yucca Drug, who is already crowned our championship at the top of the sheets there. He's confirmed on 54 points, which is over double the points of anyone else. Ferrante and Lons are fighting for 2nd. Then we have Brown and Grucock, as well as Santini and Massett, fighting over 3rd place, and behind them Dufour and Finotti make up the remainder of the top 10 in this championship. So those are the top 10, and we have 12 drivers here today. Yeah, 12 drivers here today, as Ferrante attempts to hook up a quicker lap than his previous one, which he hopes will get him to the top of the times, as Santini goes to the top of the times. So Matteo Santini goes to the top with a 3:44.232, which is less than 0.2 of a second ahead of Lewis Dufour. It's incredible how close the times are at the top there, with the top 4 being separated by less than a second. Unbelievable. Although Santini and Dufour will not be able to go any faster, as the timer is about to tick to 0, and they are both in the pit lane towards the end of this session. The timer continues to tick down. Jens Roos improves to 10th position. He jumps Phil Brown as the checkered flag now comes out. I want to skip ahead, and actually it seems that Ferrante is the last driver on track here. In fact, Ferrante and Lons are 2 drivers on circuit at the minute, actually fighting over 3rd place in the order, maybe higher if they can hook together a good lap. But also these are the 2, if you remember correctly, who are fighting over 2nd place in the championship. So this is a crucial fight here, as well as, well, it would be interesting to see if Phil Brown can get himself any higher than his 11th position and last in the order. I should also point out the use of Massett is 12th, although 45 seconds down, so he obviously didn't put together a good lap there. And that's why he's not showing up on the times, because he didn't set a completely clean lap. And you saw Phil Brown in the background there as we're watching Fabrizio Ferrante. It seems that Brown is really on it, as I'm sure he wasn't there at the start of the lap. So let's watch out for Phil Brown's lap as we head towards the end of this qualifying session as well. But Ferrante is going to be the first driver to complete a lap as he exits the final corner now. And where does this put him? This is crucial as he crosses the line. And it's pole, 3:43.707 as he crashes across the line. Great lap from Ferrante. What does Brown do? Brown goes 2nd, 3:44.087. It's 2nd for Brown. And this all rests now on Laurent Lons, who is coming through the final sector. Can he challenge his championship rivals? Laurent Lons crosses the line. Is it pole? No, it's only 4th. Laurent Lons jumps to 4 and goes to 4th with a 3:44.0 0.362, meaning it's Ferrante from Brown, Santini, Lons, De Vore, Van der Geest, Grucock, McLoone, Bosger, and then Steeg, the top 10, followed by Roos and Massett, the 12 drivers in this session. And great to see so many drivers so close at the top of the times there. The top 5 were separated by less than a second, less than 0.8 of a second. Oh my goodness, what an unbelievable result to this qualifying session here at the Feldbergrennen. Utterly incredible result. Let's take this opportunity now to look through all of our many cars, types of car, makes of car that are here in the order for this final round of the F1 1967 Championship. We have an Eagle at the top with Fabrizio Ferrante. The Eagle, of course, won the Belgian Grand Prix in that year, driven by Dan Gurney, but this one, of course, being driven by Fabrizio Ferrante. Then we have Phil Brown in second position in the Ferrari. The Ferrari, the stiffest car of the lot in terms of its suspension setup. Followed by Matteo Santini, also in a Ferrari. Laurent Lons is in the Lotus 49, which won 4 races in 1967. All of those came with Jim Clark behind the wheel of the Lotus 49. Then we have Lewis De Vore in 5th place for Cooper. The Cooper, very much a tube-shaped car, cigarette-shaped. A lot of drivers have been complaining it's pretty difficult to control, but De Vore has shown us that it is possible to control it and actually really put in a strong performance in that qualifying session. John Van der Geest also has an Eagle. Bill Grucock has a Lotus. Martin McLoone is our top Honda. Carl Steeg has a Brabham. A Lotus, sorry, followed by Flavio Bosger in the only Brabham. Jens Roos has a Honda, and I said only Brabham, but I didn't mean it because Yusuf Massett has a Ferrari, and that is the lot as we prepare for the start of the race. Here come the starting lights. We have 6 of them, and when they go out, we will be underway for 45 minutes of the terrifying Feldbergrennen, and we are... go! Away we go, and the race gets underway. Let's go to the head of the field as we watch them head through turn 1. It's Ferrante leading from Brown. Through turn 1 we go. Does everyone make it through safely? It appears that they have done, so a good, clean start, but I should point out we haven't reached the first braking zone yet. Phil Brown under attack from his Ferrari, his fellow Ferrari driver Matteo Santini, who has to drop back for now as we head down the hill around the church. And, Brown gets it all wrong, and up and over the curb there, very close. Lons gets demoted to 5th there by Lewis De Vore, so De Vore up into 4th place. Ferrante already has a 2-second lead, and we're not even 45 seconds into this race yet. Unbelievable gap that Ferrante has built up at the start of this race here, ahead of Brown and Santini. It's Brown, then Santini and De Vore for 2nd, 3rd and 4th at this point in the race. As De Vore takes a look to the inside of Santini, Santini gets 2 wheels on the grass, but manages to keep it on the road there in 3rd position. Let's look back to De Vore here as we go over the crest. McLoone has lost 8th position there to Massett, so Massett from 12th on the grid has got up into 8th position already from Martin McLoone. Great start there, and down into 12th has gone Carl Steeg, who goes off. So Carl Steeg gets it all wrong and goes into the wall, and up into 3rd place goes Lewis De Vore. So De Vore has jumped Santini and gone up into 3rd position on the opening lap of this race. Great start for Lewis De Vore. Not so good for Santini as they head through the forested section of the course, past the brake markers and into a tight S-bend. As now Brown gets away from De Vore in 2nd place as well, but still De Vore, Santini and Lons absolutely head to tail through the difficult forested section of the track. I am shocked by how clean this first half a lap has been, as we've only had 1 incident so far, and that's been Carl Steeg going off at the back there. But the top 11 have remained absolutely planted on the road, and that's great to see. I very nearly spoke too soon, as De Vore went wide and Santini very nearly went off with him. And Laurent Lons now attacks Santini for 4th position, but has to back out of it. And he will be frustrated here, the pole sitter from last time out at the Zandvoort circuit. The driver who led all but one corner before going off and throwing away his race victory very early on. He recovered to 2nd, which did keep the championship alive, or 2nd in the championship between him and Ferrante. But Ferrante is absolutely getting away here today. You can tell he's been practicing. You can tell he is taking this very seriously indeed, as he should be. Massett has got past McLean again for 8th position, as all 12 runners continue to run, and Santini challenges Dufour over the crest of the hill. Santini and Dufour are side by side for 3rd, and Santini gets it. Oh, sorry, that was Lons there passing Dufour for 4th position. So Dufour lost 2 places. Maybe a slight mistake there for Dufour. And it's now Santini 3rd, Lons 4th, and then Dufour in 5th position, with John van der Geest right on his tail. And I'm afraid it looks like we've lost Flavio Bosca. Let's go back to the rear. Yeah, Bosca's had a big spin as he recovers and doesn't appear to have damage, so that's good to see. As we head onto lap 2 of the race, and it's Ferrante leading from Brown, Santini, then Lons, Dufour, van der Geest, Groocock, and then Massett, McLean, Bruce, Steeg and Bosca. The 12 drivers still remaining in this race from 12 drivers who started it. I'm actually really quite shocked that we still have so many drivers, in fact all of them remaining in this race after the first lap. Lons there came under attack from before, but had the run on the outside there as they went over the cobbles. When you have a corner like that, the driver on the outside is always going to get the better run on the exit. It's double apex, meaning there are many different lines into that corner, and it seems that Lons drove one that just kept him in that 4th position slot for the time being. I should also point out that Jens Friis appears to have lost a lot of time, as he's dropped right back to Steeg in that 10th position. But only the top 6 score points. Whoa, very close there between Lons and Dufour. And Lons keeps that 4th position for now. It's really, really tense to see these drivers racing so closely around this Feldbergrennen circuit, as it's so tight. And if one driver just brakes slightly earlier than the other one's expecting, or one driver just misses their braking zone or something, or even touches a wheel in the grass at an awkward angle, I'm afraid it's all over, and we could have many drivers having a hideous accident. But the drivers still keeping it very clean, which is good to see. They know what's at stake, and they know that this is the championship finale, the last chance to prove themselves. Look at that VW camper van in the background there. It's great to see the historical accuracy of this circuit, which was last used in 1954. Although circuits like this were still being used in the 60s. Of course, famous examples of this include the Nürburgring, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which was still used in the 1960s, and also terrifying circuits like Nord Österreichring and the Highland circuit, which didn't exist but was based on real circuits, which we raced all the way back at round 1 of this championship. And Santini's now dropping back. Lons and Dufour have really caught him over the course of the start of this lap. We have a 3-way chain for 3rd position. Out through the back end of the circuit, we're now halfway through sector 2 into a tight hairpin. This is where Bosca had his spin last time round. We can see Brown just ahead on the circuit, but getting away. Onto a straight. This is where some slipstreaming may take place, although slipstreaming really won't be a word you'll hear much over the course of the day. And Lons goes around the outside of Brown, around that slight kink, and it looks as if he's got past him. He has. So Lons, rather, has got up into 3rd position ahead of Matteo Santini. A great overtake Oh, and Santini tags the barrier and gets all sorts of out of shape. Can Dufour use that to his advantage with the better momentum as we head down the start-finish straight to the inside of turn 1. He's going to have to back out of it, surely, and he doesn't back out of it and gets it done. Santini runs over the grass on the outside and Dufour goes up into 4th. Really great move. He was not going to back out of that, and he didn't have to, as he did get himself all the way alongside his opponent there into turn 1, and off goes Lons. He's lost it, and he's touched Dufour, and can he keep it? No, they touch wheels, they lock wheels, and Lons now gets mugged by Santini on the exit of the church bend, and that was all as a result of Laurent Lons just getting it all sorts of crossed up. Just snagged a break, I expect, on the entrance to the church bend. It's so difficult to find grip when the track bounces like that over the cobblestone. And Lons ended up losing out there and dropping from 3rd to 5th. He got passed by Dufour and by Santini, and he's now under attack from John van der Geest as well. Santini challenges for 3rd. Santini challenges Dufour for 3rd position, and that's so close. A risk you take is locking wheels, as Lons and Dufour did, and I tell you what, that could have been a lot worse. But yeah, when you have open wheel cars like this, a risk you run is just snagging the wheel of your car the car ahead of you. You can imagine it's like the car is kind of two different sets of hooks. You've got the front hook, which is the whole of the front axle, which can just connect with the rear hook, and that can spin cars around or flip them over if it goes wrong enough. But luckily we haven't seen too much of that yet today, which is good to see. As they continue to run, 10 minutes is up in this race already. I'm going to have a look now at some YouTube comments. Hello to everyone who is still with us. Seems like a thriller I was expecting, says Yuckadrug. Indeed it is. Santini's Ferrari seems very loose, says Andrew. It has done all season actually. The Ferrari has a much stiffer suspension setup than other cars, and that does tend to make it very twitchy and very snappy sometimes. And yeah, and Yuckadrug says yeah, and Dufour's Cooper as well, which it does. But I tell you what, Lons, yeah, Laurent Lons, the only driver who's had a really big snap so far, and Yucca says all of his hard work is gone. Well, I wouldn't say all of it, as he's still challenging these guys at the head of the field, and he's still in contention. And you can see, you saw last time out at the Zandvoort circuit rather, exactly what Lons is capable of in terms of recovery driving, but it's certainly going to be harder for him now in the remainder of this race. So yeah, as he continues to chase down these guys ahead of him, he has more work than he certainly would have had before. If he's going to claim that 2nd place in the championship, he would probably need a large mistake to occur from Fabrizio Ferrante's point of view, as Ferrante, who's leading this race by over 3 seconds now, needs to finish outside of the top 2 if Lons is going to stand a chance of 2nd in the championship today. And that's not looking likely, as Fabrizio Ferrante sits fastest lap of the race, which is immediately bettered, in fact, by Phil Brown. So Brown goes fastest there. Admittedly, that was only the 3rd lap of the race, so we're expecting that. It seems that Carl Stieg has passed Martin McLean for 9th position. Oh, they've both been off, in fact. They've both been off, and Jens Roos has got past them both. And it seems that Flavio Bosca may have been involved as well, as he's moving much slower. So Roos, Bosca, and Stieg all involved, and is Stieg heavily damaged? Oh my word, yeah he is. That's a shame. Can he recover it all the way back to the pits? Let's hope he can. Bosca and Roos appear to have got away with it relatively lightly. Ignore the car in the pits there. That's a spare car. So, as they continue on their way, Lons is dropping back slightly now from Santini, who in turn is dropping back from Dufour as it stands. But here we get the faster part of the circuit, with the faster flicks and the longer straights, and this may be where he can close up slightly. But he's continuing to drop back, actually. Here's Lons over the crest of the hill. And John Van der Geest dropping back from the pair of them as well. Van der Geest in the Eagle having a not so impressive run by his standards, so far in this season. Van der Geest is a driver who's used to challenging for the top 4, but still running in 6th place, which is the last point scoring position. He was running 4th last time out at Zandvoort when he crashed out on the penultimate lap of the race, which was really gutting to see. He said afterwards, it's so easy to lose your concentration, which indeed it is. And ended up not finishing that race, unfortunately, but let's hope that everyone can finish this race here today. I'm afraid Stieg and McLoone are in the pits. I knew that Stieg would be because he had heavy damage, but yeah, McLoone also in the pits, and hopefully they can return to the race. Otherwise, I'm afraid we've had our first retirements. Oh, big slide from Santini. Can he hold it? Yes, he does. Great save from Matteo Santini, and that's going to put him right into the clutches of Laurent Lons, but great save from Santini nonetheless. It looked as if he was going to snag the grass with his rear wheels and just loop it around, but luckily he didn't, and that could have been disastrous for the drivers behind, because I can't imagine it would have been easy to avoid him at that point on the track. As they continue on their way, the Feldbergrennen circuit, of course, held on public roads. It was the definition of a street race, and it was held around the towns of Oberreifenberg, Niederreifenberg, Grosser Feldberg, and also Heikweis. Heikweis towards the end of the lap, towards the faster part of the course. We've just passed the Heikweis chicane a couple of minutes ago, I think, or a couple of seconds ago rather. Although it's hard to tell on this circuit, seeing as it all looks very similar. All of the corners looks very, very similar, almost exactly the same if you ask me. Except for maybe the street circuit part, which we're about to see, as Carl Stieg returns to the circuit from the pit lane there. Good to see Stieg returning, but he is a lap down. We are now over 15 minutes into this race now. Over 15 minutes in and just under half an hour to go. This is where Lons lost control of his car 2 laps ago, but he's still in control of it at the minute, as he continues on his way out of the little village there, and continues to lap behind Matteo Santini in that 4th position. Let's have a look up to our race leader, Fabrizio Ferrante, who is still continuing on his way. The gap for the lead has been maintained for the last couple of laps at just under or around 3 seconds. Brown not letting him get away, but not closing the gap either, as Ferrante continues to lead it. And there is one of the hairpins. You see a massive slide there from Ferrante, but I know that he's capable of holding things like that. As you witness absolute car control there from Fabrizio. Oh, big slide in the background there. Now, what have I accidentally turned on? I've accidentally turned on something. I think it was a big slide from Defoe in the background, but everything still under control. And Ferrante was a driver who's had quite an inconsistent... No, sorry, I'm thinking of someone else. Ignore me. Ferrante probably having one of the most consistent series of everyone so far. His average finishing position is 2.6, meaning he's finished on the podium at actually every race that he's contested in so far. Hasn't yet won a race. All of the races so far have been won by Jakob Drug, who isn't with us here today. But whatever the case, Ferrante has been on the podium at every other race and is on his way to claiming second in the championship if they remain in this order. Oh, that was a great shot there as you witnessed the top four flying through the left-hander. Lewis Dufour there actually catching. In fact, look at the top four actually all closing up again as Brown has gained a second on Ferrante while you've been watching that, and Dufour appears to have gained about a second on Brown as well. So they're all closing up at this point in time. Here is Dufour in the coupe, who gets a big slide on, and that's going to cost him some momentum there. But yeah, the top four definitely closing up a bit. Here comes Lewis Dufour. The Cooper, like a rocket in a straight line, gaining time as we go on the Ferrari ahead of him. The Ferrari, of course, is more suited to technical circuits. I can imagine it's relatively good in the cobbled street circuit part of the course. And the gap for the lead now has gone down to less than a second as Brown puts in one of the fastest laps of the race. Santini also extremely fast on that last lap, so Brown really catching our leader here as we head into the street circuit part of the course again. Yucca says, wow, what a save by Santini. That happened a couple of laps ago, of course. And indeed it really was. And now look at the top three, separated by just 1.8 seconds. It's really closing in now between Ferrante, Brown and Dufour. I should also point out Lewis Dufour is a driver who has not yet scored a podium in this series, so that would be a major, major breakthrough for Lewis Dufour. Yusuf Massett just lost 2 places there. Whoa. And he seems to be about 50 seconds behind, so I think he's been into the pits. Jens Roos and Flavio Bosco have just switched places. That's because Roos appears to be recovering from a spin. And McLoone is off as well. He's still running in 12th positions. Come on, they're going. Got the power down, there we go. And he was off at the same part of the course as Roos there. So maybe they made contact. If so, Roos is a lap ahead of McLoone. But whatever the case, still I'm interested in this battle for the top 3. Fabrizio Ferrante, Phil Brown and Lewis Dufour. As we're now over 20 minutes into this race, you see that snappy body language there from Lewis Dufour's car. That's not unusual. That's what we've seen from the Cooper all series long. These cars, of course, had no aerodynamic aids, so back in those days, they drove more like buggies than single-seaters, and it was very common to see them snapping around and sliding into the corners, all-wheel drifting, like that there from Dufour. They were masterpieces of engineering, although of course single-seaters have become a lot faster ever since the introduction of aerodynamic aids, which actually came in 1968, so the year after 67 hit. They started experimenting at first with massively high aerofoils. Whoa, as Dufour gets into the barrier, and so does Santini in sympathy. It seemed that Dufour just clipped the inside barrier there, and that sent him flying into the outside wall. I don't think he'll have any damage, but that will certainly knock his confidence. But yeah, aerodynamics, of course, actually came into effect in club racing. I believe it was a Porsche driver in a club race who first experimented with putting a massive wing on his cars and found that it made the car several seconds per lap quicker. And it was introduced to Formula 1 in 1968. But these, of course, 1967 cars, and you see the massive engines situated directly behind the driver. Of course, the fuel tanks back in those days were completely unreinforced, meaning that if a driver hit something rear on, the fuel tanks would often catch fire, and we saw that several times over the course of the 60s. Unfortunately, that killed Lorenzo Bandini in 1967 in a Ferrari like the one we're watching now. A real tragedy, but one that could really happen back in those days. I believe that may have been in 68 now that I think of it. Matteo Santini into the Church Bend. I know it was 67. The interesting thing about cars in 1967, which we don't witness here as well, is that they were very inconsistent. There were a lot of retirements. In fact, these days, a world champion could never get away with retiring as much as they did back in those days. I mean, admittedly, you could probably get away with retiring from 2 races, like Denny Holm did in 67, as well as Jack Brabham did in 2nd place. But you have to remember there were fewer races back then, as Santini goes all the way to attempt the switchback on Lewis de Vore there, but doesn't get it done. Was that a barbed wire fence they just passed? It certainly looked like one. My word, they were nutters. In the 60s, that is. And to be honest, this is the kind of race you only want to see in sim racing, because to see it in real life was so dangerous. People often think of the cars back then as being extremely dangerous, but really it was usually the poor track design that killed the drivers. I mean, it was a combination of both, of course, but yeah, poor track design was to blame for a lot of it, with things like telegraph poles and houses and ditches and the public being right to the side of the circuit. As you see there, that's an unprotected car they just passed there in the escape road. And if you hit a tree side on, the car is just going to wrap itself around you and you're going to stand no chance. And that is indeed a barbed wire fence. Oh my word, I can barely believe what I'm seeing. They actually raced here in the 40s and 50s. Just unbelievable. Big slide from Santini, who kicks 2 wheels into the grass, but keeps it under control. The lead is separated by 0.6 of a second once again. Brown taking a wider line, that's the attacking line, because it allows you to get a faster exit to the corner and keep the momentum. As I'm afraid we've big slide from Santini. I'm afraid we've lost Yusuf Massett. He's our first confirmed retirement, as McLoone has returned to the race, of course. But Massett, our first confirmed retirement, has left the server, meaning we have 11 drivers remaining in this 12-car race. A change for 5th place, and it's a significant one, as Laurent Lons has been passed by John van der Geest. And there's oh no, big damage for Laurent Lons! And this is dramatic, as Lons could have claimed 2nd place in the championship here today, and now is almost guaranteed not to. And that is horrendous for Laurent Lons, and he's going to be kicking himself whatever happened, or kicking someone else if it was someone else's fault. But whatever the case, Laurent Lons, luckily he's done it very late in the lap, so he can recover it to the pit lane, which you see him doing right now. But that's such a shame to see 2nd place in the championship claim that way, and that means it's almost definitely going to go the way of Fabrizio Ferrante. But I should point out, he is in a close fought battle for 1st place here between Ferrante, Brown and de Vore. It seems that Brown and de Vore really catch Ferrante towards the end of the lap, and then Ferrante Starts pulling away again at the start of the lap. But it's going to be harder to this time, seeing as they are so close. Look at the four pulling out of the toe there of Brown, just so he can see the track. And it's amazing watching these drivers going at it. And oh no! I was just about to say it's amazing watching them going at it and not coming together. And I'm afraid Brown and DeVore have come together. It seemed that Brown just went off and DeVore went off in sympathy. And that was just Brown misjudging the corner. And, well, they've got going again with Brown just ahead of DeVore. Brown's got away with surprisingly little damage. What about DeVore? Also surprisingly little damage, it seems, but there may be more damage than I thought for Phil Brown. He's retiring. Phil Brown is out of the race after running second the entire time. Phil Brown is out. And that means that Matteo Santini is up into second in the Ferrari, but he also went off in avoidance. DeVore is third. Van der Geest is fourth. Grugok will be fifth when he goes through. Lons will be back into the points in 6th place as he's returned from the pit lane. And then it'll be, ignore Stieg, it'll be Bosger, Roos, and then Stieg, and then Martin McLoone in 11th position. So a real major development in this race, and not one that we like to see. Really, really dramatic and unfortunate. That's going to put a couple of drivers up into a higher position. For example, Flavio Bosger here will only need to make up one more position to get into a points-paying position. He's over 2 minutes behind Brown, but Brown's out. So I believe the gap will be about 55 seconds to Lons ahead of him. But of course, it's not entirely unlikely that Lons won't, or that one of the drivers won't have another issue, especially after what we've seen so far in the race. But if Bosger was able to get back up into the top 6, or up into the top 6 rather, he would be able to claim his only point-scoring finish of the season, as he's not scored a points finish yet, and this is the final round. I'm going to stop speaking for a couple of seconds because I'm feeling quite lightheaded. I will be right back. Okay, we return to the action. Apologies for that. I just really didn't want to pass out today. That would not be a very professional broadcast. But whatever the case, Scott R comments, "Nutters, haha, indeed." That's what I said earlier about people who raced back in the 60s. Yucca says, "Oh no, Laurent," which is definitely a shame to see Lons picking up that damage just now. Andrew says John has a smash screen too, I think. Let's have a look at John Van der Geest's car to see if that is indeed true. He hasn't pitted, and indeed he does not have a smash screen, so I don't think Van der Geest was involved in that incident like we said. Apologies about that. Reese has just got past Brown, who of course is out of this race. Andrew says maybe they... Oh no, Yucca says maybe they crashed together. I don't think they did. Andrew says Bill up to 6th for a point. Indeed, Bill Drewcock actually up into 5th place now. And how many points has he scored? So that would put him on 11 points in this championship. Only 2 points behind Phil Brown. So not a bad performance there from Bill Drewcock in this season. And Inga Needville says, "No, Lons." Ah, yeah, it is a bit of a shame, I'm afraid. Scott R says, "I just tuned in. JD sitting back, that's Yucca Drug sitting back and sipping champagne with some hotties and letting someone else have a win. Unfortunately, Yucca is ill today, but yeah, unfortunately. Oh my word, he says he has a 39 Celsius fever. Well, get well soon, Yucca. That's a shame. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome in anyway, Scott R. Andrew says, I guess the incident was DeFore's fault as he waited for Phil to get going before him. And then he says, I just watched the replay, looked like Phil just drove into the barrier and DeFore hit the back of him. Indeed, that's the case. Tony Talviti says, too bad I missed it. The whole series almost. Friday is just a big no-go. Sorry to hear it, Tony. Jens Fries, I'm afraid, is in the pits, so there may have been an incident involving him. No, it's just a quick pit stop. We were watching him at the time, so I don't know if any of you saw what happened. I was reading YouTube comments at the time, so apologies about that. Let's see if we can find someone interesting. Sorry. Sorry for all of the button clicking. How about Bill Grucock, seeing as we were... Oh, no, DeFore's in the pits. So DeFore, who was involved in that incident earlier on, I'm afraid is in the pit lane, and he appears to have teleported back to the pits as well, as he's come back from a really weird point on the track. So that indicates that there's been a big incident somewhere, and DeFore is losing out. And does that mean Grucock is going to be put up into 4th position as Ferrante goes through to start another lap? Let's have a look. And indeed, Grucock is up into 4th now, and it seems that that was the point on track where DeFore went off from. So DeFore there, unfortunately, getting involved in an incident, and that's a shame, seeing as he was so competitive for so long in the race, and that would have been his most competitive race of the whole series. And he's fully retired now. He's out of the server. Huge shame for Lewis DeFore. Gutting to see. And that puts Bill Grucock up into 4th, Laurent Lons up into 5th, and it will put Flavio Bosga up into 6th. For, well, he'll be on course for his only point of the series, as I pointed out just now. As Grucock continues to run in 4th position there. Yucca says Bill 4th again, as well as bad day for Finnish guys. That, of course, are there any other Finnish guys in this league? Well, Tony Talviti was Finnish, but I'm afraid he had to finish this league early, as he could only make 1 round of the championship, in which he finished... oh, sorry, he made 2 rounds of the championship with a best result of, or an average result of 9.5. No points for Talviti, I'm afraid. That was earlier in the season. One of the only McLaren drivers, I believe, and I don't think we have a McLaren here today. That is, I think he was driving McLaren, if I remember correctly. Let's have a look at our leader again, Fabrizio Ferrante, as he continues on his way, showing us how it's done. And after the incidents involving Lons, DeFore, and Santini, he now has a 9.2 second lead, almost 9.3 seconds, as he heads under the Energo banner. We have less than 9 minutes remaining in this race now, which is good, because I think if we had any longer, I'd probably pass out. Maybe I'm coming down with a fever or something too. And we did have another Finnish driver earlier in this league, Omri Miettinen, who also only made 1 round in this series and finished 8th. But yeah, it seems that not many Finnish drivers were actually able to make the full season. In fact, none of them were able to make every race. But Yucca Drug didn't let that put him down and still went on to win the championship, which he claimed at Zandvoort. Let's ride on board with Ferrante as he shows us just how you do it on this terrifying Feldbergrennen circuit. It's a classic, and it's a very old school style track. Whoa, big kick of oversteer there as he goes over the crest. He's on the very fast final sector at this point in time, just about to start another lap. It's got just a couple of corners to go. And the cars will be approaching 160 miles per hour towards this braking zone here. And it's only a very slight braking zone. It'll be a tap on the brakes as you head over the crest. In fact, I don't think he touched the brakes at all there. Ferrante not touching the brakes as he... Whoa, look how fast he's going as he crosses the line there to complete yet another lap. Jens Roos is now up into 7th position, the most frustrating position on in racing, in this league anyway, because if you finish 7th, you know you've missed out on a points finish by 1 place. And if anyone makes a mistake, Roos will be elevated up into 6th position, or if anyone retires rather, Roos will be elevated up into that 6th position, which would give him a point. Has Jens Roos scored a point so far this season? He did, yes. I'm not entirely sure exactly when that was, but he did score a point. In fact, I can check exactly when that was. No, I can't, because it was too long ago. And from that, I can conclude it was either Kyalami or Highland. Roos, of course, also recently racing in our BTCC Championship. He took a pole position as recently as a couple of days ago in his last BTCC race with SimRacingOnline. That was actually yesterday. He took pole position for that. And he also took pole position for our Formula E race at Mexico City, where he went on to finish 2nd. And also took pole for our Formula E race at Buenos Aires, where he went on to finish 3rd. And also at the BTCC race at Knock Hill. So a qualifying specialist is is Jens Roos, but doesn't appear to be able to deliver the results in terms of wins that often. He probably has won with us with SimRacingOnline before. In fact, he has. His stats indicate 3 sports car wins and a touring car win, but hasn't quite got to grips with the 1967 F1 car, only scoring 1 point, so far in this series. Continuing to run though past the barbed wire and over the crest of the hill. Less than 5 minutes remaining in this race now. Now, what are those white things to the edge of the circuit? I believe those are advertising banners. Not that anyone would have actually been watching back in the day, apart from the very few spectators at the track. There was no TV coverage back then, only radio coverage and news reports happening after the events. Onto the fast final sector. There's another Honda just behind him on the road, or a couple of seconds behind him on the road, and that would be Martin McLean, the only other Honda in this race, who will be a lap down from him. The Honda has a very distinct engine sound. I believe it was supercharged, and you can hear that as it shoots past. A very sort of two-tone engine sound, reminiscent of the McLaren, if I remember correctly. Here's Flavio Bosca, a position ahead in 6th place, as the timer continues to tick to a close. I'm not entirely sure how many laps we've had in this race, but it certainly hasn't been many, as Ferrante is still setting his personal best there in the 3:45s. I believe fastest lap of the race has been set by Santini, who's in the pits. Oh no! Santini's had an issue. Oh, he's got heavy damage. And does he maintain a podium position? Heavy damage, the steering hanging to the left as he stops in his box. Where's Van der Geest? Van der Geest is going up into 2nd place. Now remember, Van der Geest was running 6th a little while ago, so Van der Geest has had a great recovery drive. And unfortunately, Santini really struggling. Can he make it out of the pits before Bill Grucock goes through? Oh, that's a real shame from Santini, who's been, I'm afraid, inconsistent at best. this series. He's been on pace all of the time, but has made several mistakes and has only managed one podium despite being one of the best qualifiers. And he still sits in the pit lane. Grukok is coming towards the end of the lap now, and he will undoubtedly go through into third. And he's only 1.6 seconds ahead of Lons, who will go through into fourth. Bill Grukok is on for a podium here. What an unbelievable development. But he will need to hold off Laurent Lons in the final stages. A brawl is surely brewing. Inge Niedveld cheering on Laurent Lons, as well as Andrew Williams pointing out that Lons is catching Bill quickly. He was 12 seconds behind with 8 minutes to go. Now, well, he said now 4 seconds behind, but he's actually now 1.5 seconds behind. And interestingly, if Lons was to take that place and Ferrante was to retire, then Lons would get second place in the championship. And I don't want to curse it, but that's likely. Here comes Lons now as he attacks Grukok. He's right on his tail here, right in the late stages of the race. This is over third and fourth position. He's in his slipstream. He pulls out to the outside past the brake boards, and this is going to do it. Laurent Lons is up into third position, passing Bill Grukok. Oh my word, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I think I'm going to be okay, but just all of this shouting, oh my word. Oh my word, sorry. I apologise for this. Whatever the case, Lons has got up into third place. Okay, I'm really lightheaded now. I'm going to stop speaking. I'm so sorry. I'll try to cover the end of the race. Oh, I'm so sorry. That has never happened to me before. But whatever the case, Lons has passed Grukok. Apologies if I sound really ill towards the end of this race, I feel ill. But whatever the case, here comes Fabrizio Ferrante out of the final corner. He's driven a brilliant race. He's going to win it by over 40 seconds. Fantastic! And Ferrante is going to be the only other non-Yucca Drug victor of the series, and he claims second place in the championship. Ferrante wins in the number 11 Eagle. Great result. John van der Geest is 40 seconds behind, 41 seconds behind. One of the biggest gaps I've ever seen. That's almost a second per minute that Ferrante pulled out over the second place driver. Although he did certainly have to fight for it. He was really being challenged in the first 15 minutes, if you remember. And then we had that incident, which really shook it all up. John van der Geest is second. The winning margin in the end, 39.6 seconds. Third place is going to be Laurent Lons. If I go completely silent, you know I've passed out. I'm so sorry. Laurent Lons is going to be third position, actually over half a minute behind Van der Geest. I tell you what, the gaps look really spread out, but that does not tell the whole story, as Lons had to fight his way back past Bill Grukok to finish third. He's going to claim the podium place, but will not claim second in the championship. There he goes, crossing the line in third place. Fourth will be Bill Grukok. Fifth place is going to be Matteo Santini. I'm so sorry. Matteo Santini, who will be fifth place, over half a second behind Bill Grukok. And he will be kicking himself after that incident towards the end of the race. Oh, and he's going to be kicking himself after that too. He's going to crash across the line. Does he make it, in fact? Is he going to make it? Oh my word. Santini losing it in the final corner, probably out of frustration more than anything, and does finish 5th. 6th place is going to be Flavio Bosga, who will score his only point of the series. Ah! Oh my... I just passed out. I'm so sorry. Where are we? Oh my word. I feel so ill. I'm gonna be... Okay. Flavio Bosga is going to claim the final points finish in 6th position. I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional of me. I've never done that before. Okay, Flavio Bosga. Great race from him. He's not the quickest of drivers, but he kept consistent. And he's going to be timed out. Well, I hope he still gets that point, but I'm afraid the race has timed him out. But whatever, Flavio Bosga was 6th, so it's Ferrante, followed by Van der Geest, Lons, Grucock, Santini, Bosga. I was just saying about Bosga, he's not the quickest driver, but he is very consistent. And he showed us a very clean race today and a well-deserved point. Followed by Roos, Stieg, and then some retirements, which were McLoone rather, Defour, and then... And the order's just reset itself before I read out the rest. Sorry. So it was Roos 7th, followed by Stieg, McLoone, and then some retirements who were Defour, Brown, and Massett. What a way to end the series! What a way to end the series. Oh my goodness. So 45 minutes of racing has done its toll on the drivers and on me. Congratulations to the podium, Ferrante, Van der Geest and Lons. Congratulations to the winner, Ferrante. Congratulations to our champion, Lauren Lons. Even Yucca Drug, sorry. No, Lons will like hearing that, but no, Yucca Drug, who did not race today. And I hope you get well soon, Yucca. Whoa. I'm just... Oh, my word. Okay. What a great series that was. Thank you to SimRacingOnline for putting that on. It was my pleasure to bring you that series, all 7 rounds of it. It was fantastic. It was really, really entertaining. It was just unbelievable to see the 1967 F1 cars back on track, even as a sim racing championship. Thank you to Dr. Doomslab for making this this mod. Credit where credit's due. Fantastic looking cars, and they race brilliantly. And thank you to all of the drivers who raced with us in this series. Overall, we had 28 drivers who raced with us over the course of the 7 races. That's a really decent grid. And it was some really, really entertaining races. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you to everyone for joining us, whether you joined us live or later. And I will see you all later. I'm so sorry for the unprofessional end to the stream. I was obviously just a bit ill today, but whatever the case, thank you so much. And I will see you in whatever series that I cover next in the SimRacingOnline group of leagues. Thank you very much, and I will see you then. Goodbye!